The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about practice reports that I've gotten. We'll talk about a couple of players that have hit us with potential commitments. All that jazz here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Hello today. Coop is out. My green, so y'all cannot pinch me. Put your fingers down. You ain't pinching me. But make sure you hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. Of course, rate, review, give us 5 stars, all that jazz. But thank y'all for pulling up per the norm. Happy Sunday. We got a lot of stuff to dive into, man. I practice, of course, spring practice this week. And one thing, of course, with that, this past week, there wasn't really any media allowed at it, right? Venables probably did some interviews, talked about some stuff here and there, but there were some people in attendance and some parents were able to observe and check things out. And of course, the beauty of doing what I'm doing now and why I enjoy all of you is I get an occasional parent here or there that will hit your boy up and say, hey, I got some information, something I've seen, something I've observed, I would love to tell you about. And of course, I appreciate it. Won't say any names or anything. You know who you are. Thank you for always tuning in and showing some love. And so got a little information on players that how they performed and what things look like in practice. But so we'll talk into practice report and what I have heard and, kind of dissect that. Make sure you hop in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Jen, what is going on? Thanks for pulling up to the crib as usual. Showing support here to the channel. And so, yeah, St. Patty's Day. Everybody's probably nice and drunk or hungover or something, which we all enjoy, right? It's the holiday that keeps on giving. Like I said, I'm wearing my green so I don't get pinched. If you have not checked out the Autograph app, please do. It is a great community of Oklahoma Sooner content. All the greats are on there. You'll have Oklahoma Breakdown, you got OU Insider, all your content in one place, sports related and everything. Please check it out. Would love for you to, I'll have the link in the description below for my promo code, in which I need to add that now. You can go to my link and then put in the promo code UNFAIRSports when you sign up. That lets them know that I sent you. And like I said, you can enjoy all the beauty of, OU content that is being placed on there. And so check out the link below. Use the promo code UNFAIRSports. Let them know that I sent you. So first off is, let me go ahead and hit these comments. I see a few of y'all jumping in here. Big salute to you as well, Bishop. What's up, Robbie? Thanks for joining. Robert, this is interesting. See, good information from parents, but what you really need is a rat informant in the training room or better yet, stats to give you first-hand information or a drone. See, I've been working on the drone thing, but it's not legal to be flying over the schools like that. So hopefully they don't catch me. Wait, did I say that on camera? That's probably not a good idea. I digress. We won't be saying anything else. But first off, I didn't get to talk about this yet. I got a video put together. I haven't got a chance to edit it. I've been running around the last few days. But I want to talk about the Jaden Nickens decommitment, right? So top 120 player in the country, one of the top 5 players or top 3 players in Oklahoma. Jaden Nickens did decommit from Oklahoma. And he was at Millwood, transferred to John Marshall. 247's composite has him at like 160th. And I believe on threes, consensus had him in the 130s. He's one of the top players in the country. Like he can ball, 6'3", 190. He plays basketball and football. And in the recruitment, you had Brandon Hall as well as Emmett Jones chasing after him. And so when he decommitted, I wasn't super concerned. And it's nothing against him and his talent. We want, of course, the best players in state. We would like to make sure we win all those battles if possible. But there are those situations where, in his case, he wants to play both basketball and football. And is that something that's possible? Yes. Is it tough to do at Oklahoma? I'm going to say yes as well, just because of the commitment. And with basketball starting right in the middle of when football goes down, the question is which one is more important to Mr. Nickens? Is it going to be football or is it basketball? And that's not something that we know the answer to. So me personally, I'm sensing that he probably is leaning more of a big basketball type person, in which why Oklahoma, and him kind of parted ways, right? If I'm correct, he really hasn't even been visiting Oklahoma as of late. And so because he hasn't really been visiting, kind of tells you enough. But he is a player that's going to be playing both sides of playing both sports. Somebody's going to give him that opportunity just because he's talented enough to do that. I just don't see him at Oklahoma. Now, is that a concern that we should have, or should we raise a red flag? Nah, because Emmett Jones has been working it when it comes to wide receiver recruitment. We talked about this before. We've had conversations with players like Caleb Cunningham, Andrew Marsh. There's a few wide receivers that Oklahoma has already offered that will be pulling up to do official visits here in the next few weeks. And so, since that's the case, I'm not that concerned that there's not somebody else in the wide receiver sphere that we won't be able to go after. Heck, you got Emmanuel Choice. So Manny Choice is one a lot of people do like. The big 6'4" wide receiver. Honestly, kind of reminds me of Nick Anderson when I watch some of his film. You got Cooper Perry. He's looking like more of an Oregon lean, but at the same time, supposedly he's warming up to Oklahoma as well. So there's a long list of players that Oklahoma's going after. And then, of course, if we talk about in-state, you got Elijah Thomas, who's a beast out there in Chakota. I think that he's probably going to be one of the better players out of the state. I'm not concerned about losing out on Nickens. Like I said, you would love to have him, but at the same time, it is what it is. Skills positions, just not as short. You usually got to find the ones that's going to be the biggest game changers. But I think having Caleb Cunningham pull up, Andrew Marsh, having Cooper Perry, as well as Manny Choice are probably the four players to really pay attention to. And I'd say two of those will potentially be ones that we could get to sign. So I'm not concerned or stressed about that. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. I know a few people had some reservations around that. And again, I wanted to make sure that I laid that out there about Nickens. I'll have a video with more detail on things that I've heard and why I'm not super concerned or whatnot when it comes to his commitment. But he's a monster. He's a really good player. And it's just, it's unfortunate. It happens, right? So it's the first decommitment of 25. And I don't think I see us having any more at this point. Luckily, we're still top like 6 in all the recruiting services right now for our class for 2025. And that's all because we were able to start pulling in kids early, right? Kids decided that they wanted to get their spots because coming into 25 class, coming into this year, 2024, before the 25 class, we weren't sure how many scholarships going to be allowed. If we're going to go back to the old limit of 25 or if we're going to move forward with unlimited like we have. And the NCAA ruled at the end of the year that they're going to keep that unlimited number. So basically, you can recruit and get 85 signees if you want to. Nobody's going to do that because that's way too many freshmen and a lot of players to push out of your program. But you can recruit up to 85 if you truly feel like it. So nothing, like I said, nothing to be concerned about. Y'all can hop in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. I know a few of y'all jumping in with some comments and everything or whatnot. And yeah, we need solid. Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah, Kyle, that one was interesting, man. Yeah, we didn't offer him. And you can tell that Beaton Bow has a type, right? So if you've been, of course, keeping up, I put out my series on all of the rooms that I've been paying attention. I've been looking at in preparation for spring ball, things that's gotten your boy excited. There's a lot of players that you all should really, really, really keep your eyes on. So go check that out. I've got that. I'll have that playlist at the end of this video, as well as it's on the channel, so you can definitely find it. And I've added the autograph app links and everything there. If you want to join the Discord, we talk about a lot of this stuff all the time. And truly, yeah, I mean, a few people, thanks to the Cowboy, pointed out, oh, you did miss the NCAA tournament. It's the third year in a row. Porter has not been able to get us in there. He had 20 wins, which I thought that would have been enough to get them in. They had a very high rating as far as their net, and they only lost to quad one schools. Unfortunately, the NCAA didn't believe in us, and so we're out. It'll be all right. We're not concerned. We'll make it up next year going into the SEC, which the SEC and the Big 12 both had 8 teams making it to the tournament, which is pretty flipping good. We won't go into that. Let's talk practice, right? So the practice went down. I know all of you synced all of the cool pictures that Oklahoma, the school, was putting out for, spring practice and all the kids that have been, showing up and how big some of these kids are. I don't know about y'all, but I was thoroughly impressed in the size of some of these players that are showing up. It's like, wow, we're going to really be having some dudes out there, right? I'm excited about that. And there was one picture that I saw. You got to see the picture of Jaden Gibson catching a ball. You saw Jaden Jackson. So both the Jadens got some love. Let me pull this up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Right. Let me put this over here and I'll make you in charge. So you got big Jaden Jackson here with the hair just flowing. We got to get him a Head and Shoulders NIL deal. Put him out there with Palomalu as well as Patrick Mahomes, rocking the hair. And then you got this nice catch here. Of course, that was probably a beautiful ball thrown to Jay Gibson. Unfortunately, Josiah Wagner was defending him, and I mean, there's a difference, like 6'5" to 5'11". Like, what are you supposed to do if the quarterback can put the ball in the right spot? Ain't much you can really say in that circumstance, but you got to see some beautiful pitches like that, and then of course some running downhill right here, and yeah, I am very much excited about what this spring roster is going to look like. There's a lot of guesswork in this, right? I've been digging, trying to figure out um, who's potentially going to start, and that's kind of what that series really is who do we see really leading the way in the spring games, and then from there we'll have another series through the summer as we prepare for fall ball. But right now, we've got a lot. I mean, look at, Gavin, Sawchuk out here showing his ability to continue to hit up the run down there. And we got some tackles. I couldn't figure out who this was. I'm thinking this is Nesta or Stutzman. I can't remember. I can't figure it out. We got to look at that tattoo, though. Huh. Anyway, we all know how excited each and every one of y'all is about spring ball, but got some notes from a parent, right? He's probably watching. Thank you for the notes because told you I was going to leverage all of this good information to get from practice. Some of the players always pass good information on, but I want to talk about some of these notes I got. So first off, hey, you know what? That might be Woolard. That might be Woolard. You might be right there. Now he's big. I mean, he's at like 260, and I forgot what report I saw. They pointed out that he was a little nicked up, so you didn't really get to see him as much. But I'm sensing that he's gonna be dumb. He's gonna be good, right? He's like 261 in the depth chart, and so he's one of those transfers. I didn't really talk about him much with the edge guys, just because he's nicked up right now. I don't sense really seeing much in spring, but once we get past into summer, the spring portal window and going into the summer and getting ready for fall, I'm gonna talk about him a lot more because, yeah, he at 261 kid's gonna be special. But what I did hear though from a parent that shot me some messages, kind of some notes here to kind of talk through. Um, ones that made sense. You saw some Stone, some David Stone, some Jaden Jackson, and some Danny Okoye mixed up in the ones and twos. So what does that tell you? Not only, of course, we're dealing with some Knicks and everything. Right now, Dejon Terry is our only 300-pounder this year. This will be going back to basically 2 years ago when Todd Bates got here. He pointed that out. He was like, hey, when I got here, I got one dude over 300. Then last season, we had like 6 dudes over 300 in the middle. And going back into next year, we're returning into only having one dude in the 300s. But Jaden Jackson's sitting in like 296. So I'm going to go ahead and count him at 300 because I think he'll get there. So we got 2 dudes over 300 pounds. One's a freshman and one's basically a super senior. And so for us, the key thing is we're going to have to beef up some guys to be able to fill the hole because you don't want to rely just on those 2 dudes, right? You know, you're going to want to have at least 6 dudes over 3. And I think we'll get there. That's not the concern of us getting there. The good thing is that we truly are playing with quote unquote house money. We've got all the players here that this team wants. Talking to my boy Jordan the other day, actually today, we actually texting today, and he was like, hey man, this is like Oklahoma's like first true like hand-picked class and team 130. These are the specific players that Venables and staff want to have out there, and we've got a lot of options to cycle through. And so defensive line wise, if you're seeing Stone and Jaden Jackson get some runs with the ones, that's telling you not only are they special, right, that they're trusting him to go ahead and play, but there's some excitement around seeing what they can do. And what I've heard was the O-line wasn't bad, but that D-line is nasty. And so we've got to ask the question, which one is it? Is the defensive line just that good, or is the offensive line still struggling? Now, granted, there's still some nicks and cuts with the offensive line as well. And so I've heard that you saw a little bit of action from Isaiah Autry. You also saw some Autry Dent, as well as you saw some action from Eugene Brooks, getting some run with everybody in the line, right? I think Garrion is still a little nicked up coming from Washington. Fabici Waywoo got some run. But that defensive line, it's just going to be stupid good, right? And that's what we've been trying to build for. The thing that was pointed out to me was the offensive line wasn't bad, but you can see that they still need time to gel. There's still some communication that needs to be established, especially as you determine who's going to be the ones that's actually going to start and play. That's kind of where I went when I heard that. I'm like, okay, Bill Beatonbow knows what he's doing. That's the one thing I'm not concerned about. And y'all have heard me and Coop defend his honor on numerous occasions. I've done it on numerous videos, but I think the point is we know what Beatonbow has, and we know what Beatonbow has done before. We've seen the talent that Beatonbow has put on the field, and we've seen Beatonbow go out there and piecemeal lines, and they come out real good, or at least solid enough to where we're competitive like crazy, right? That is what I expect out of this one too, right? We've got size. Like I went and looked at the offensive line. We've got one offensive lineman under 300 pounds. And it's Gunnar Allen, and if I'm correct, he is a preferred walk-on. Everybody's over 300 pounds. Over 300 pounds. Like you're going 305 up. You don't have any teetering at 300 besides like Isaiah Autry, the freshman, which is okay. He's a freshman. You're going to meet him up, and he's going to get up into the 310, 315s once you reshape his body going into next year. But he's already got a solid base. That's why he was able to run a little bit with some ones and twos, him and Eugene Brooks. Now, Eugene Brooks came in, if I'm correct, he's 336 pounds. It's a big boy. 300. Let me go verify this for y'all real quick. I'm looking at the spring depth chart right now, and our boy BJ Brooks is sitting at 334 pounds. My bad, I was 2 pounds off. He came in 330-something pounds, and I'm hearing it ain't bad weight. Like Colin Kennedy had mentioned him when he came on and was kind of talking about him. It's like it wasn't bad weight. It's like he's got solid weight, and all they're going to do is continue to reshape him. But 300 pounds on the offensive line from just about everybody. I went through and broke down the roster when I was, putting that video together. And I'm just like, man, you got Jacob Sexton at 317, Troy Everett at 305, and I think he's going to get bigger. Jake Taylor at 303. He's probably the closest one to just 300 outside of Autry. And Garrion, who's at 302. You got Heath Zeta at 312. You've got Logan Howland at 306. Joshua Bates, 311. Fabichi Wewu out at 326. Spencer Brown, 314. Garyans at 302. Michael Tarkins, 309. Josh Isosa, 322. Daniel Akinkumi, 314. You got, and then BJ at 334. And then, of course, Isaiah Usher-Dent sitting at 300. That's a big line, right? Like, that's the one thing we want. And I think the difference with this is, too, like, last year, Alabama had, like, their offensive line was, like, bigger than most NFL lines, right? But the biggest problem for them was agility. They were the biggest offensive line in college football, but you could tell that they just couldn't move. And I think that's a major focus here is we want to make sure that these guys can move. And so I'm not too concerned about what the offensive line is going to shape out to be. But the biggest thing that was pointed out to me is once they get their communication down, once they gel up, which that probably will come spring ball, especially as we establish who's going to be the 5. And I told you on my 5. I've got both Jakes as your bookends. I think Uzeda's going to run in at the left. You're going to have Abichi on the right, and at the center is Troy Everett. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking you're going to rotate, of course, Gary in at one of the guards. You have Spencer Brown rotating in at tackle. You'll have Tarkin. It sounds like he's going to play tackle, so he'll rotate in at tackle as well. And you may see some of the freshmen come in. And I forgot, I ain't even talked about EPL because he ain't even here yet, right? Eddie ain't gonna be here until in the summer because at Tampa Catholic can't graduate early. He won't be here until in the summer. That's another one's gonna be to rotate through, especially as he's reshapes his body. But I see some BJ Brooks, I see some Autry getting some run. Right, that team is done, and it's hilarious. Of course, you're right, totally. But I can see some Akinkumi get some run too. I saw he was in an accident and he posted a picture of it, kind of made us all scared. He said, pray for his knee. I'm really hoping it ain't nothing serious. We'll keep our fingers and prayers going. But I sense there's going to be some big stuff coming from that offensive line. That's the notes on the line and the D line. Let me know what y'all think. Jen, I haven't heard a word about Caleb Hicks. Besides that, he's probably going to see some run this year. He's going to see some burn. I didn't talk about Franklin much. Sam Franklin, a transfer from UT Martin that came in, but I have seen and heard reports that he looks good. But Gavin Sawchuk's also holding it down, and that was one of the notes to add to it. All the running backs look productive, especially Gavin Sawchuk. He looks like he's that number one back. Hearing Javonte Barnes is looking healthy. So you add in Barnes, you add in Sawchuk, both healthy guys. Then Hicks is going to look at some run. Franklin's definitely going to play. That's basically the words that have been told. He looks really, really good. And I've even seen that in a couple of reports. He looks good. And yeah, thank you, Steven, for posting that in the court. Looks like his knee is good. Some bruising and pain, but nothing more. Always a plus. Good to see and hear that our man's is healthy. Because Akinkumi's going to be fun. And we won't have Tatum for spring. He's playing baseball right now. I don't know if y'all saw it. He actually hit a inside the park home run like a couple of days ago. And he was standing up doing it. Now, granted, I'm a little bit upset that we didn't get to see what was going on in right field, how many people was dropping the ball, or how it all played out. But we did see him do an inside the park home run. I got to find that video because I thought it was pretty cool. I'm like, dang, kid's got some jets, don't he? You can't beat that, right? Running back getting inside the park home run. But no, he's playing baseball, and we anticipated that. And of course, he's actually really good at it. He's really good at baseball. So I actually was nervous about him and Nesta, to be truly honest, because of their capabilities at baseball. That when the summer draft comes through, there's a chance that they may get snatched up. And if it makes sense, they go play pro baseball. Now, granted, we lucked out with Kyler, in which I think Kyler's situation was a completely different when it comes to being drafted in baseball. He's playing quarterback. He's going to definitely get 9-figure contracts. Tatum's a running back, and the NFL don't like running backs. So if I was to say there was a concern about that, if he gets drafted high enough, I will be concerned because it makes sense. You don't pass on the opportunity to go play baseball and make good money, especially when, the NFL don't really show any love about they don't show any love when it comes to running backs. Suitor Cowboy, you asked, and I shall provide. Xavier Robinson heard is looking good. He looks good. And he's sitting at what? Let's pull up his weight right now. Robinson sitting at 228, 6 foot 228. And he looks a lot bigger than that. Like, I think he's more solid. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. But 6 foot 228. I mean, I stood next to him after the state championship. And I looked at him and was like, "Dog, you pretty big." And of course, he runs a 4.5, right? He told me he's clocked a 4.5, and his goal is to shave down to a 4.4. So, mentioned it here before when he told me when we were talking, he's like, "My goal is to get in the 215, 220 range. I want to run a 4.47, 4.46 range is my goal. If I can get to 4.5, 4.45. Imagine that size and strength and shiftiness coming at you at that speed. X is a freight train. He really is. He's a big boy and he's strong. Yeah. Terrifying dude. All right. So running backs is solid. Of course, everybody's getting a little bit of run burn here and there. But the good thing is his health is looking good. And that's the most important thing is the players starting to look more healthy. Wide receivers, yes. So talked about Jay Nichols to start the show. Saw that he decommitted. Our wide receiver room is pretty stacked. And I'm going to be honest. I have personal concerns. No, this is not sourced information. That no one's told me anything. No one said anything. This is pure speculation on your boy. I'm purely speculating here. I have a little bit of concerns about losing a player or two to the portal in the wide receiver room. I don't know who, but the room is good. Like it's that good. Now, you may have guys be like, nope, I'm going to stick it out because there's going to be great opportunities to play. Or, when the moments come up, we're going to be able to play. I'm concerned because Gibson, y'all saw that picture I showed of him making that catch. Hearing he is showing out. As well as Nick Anderson. Both of them are considered dogs. This was the note that was sent to me. They're dogs. Like dogs. They balling. Jalil Farouk loves to catch contested passes. If they're toughed and they're contested, they love it. He loves it. That's his ball. If he's wide open, streaking up the sideline for a touchdown, little question. But Farouk's catching everything tough that's coming to him. Like he's got to stick them on his hands whenever he's being contested. I need him to catch those wide open ones too. But that we don't go too far into that. But that man, he catch. Wide receiver's nice. One freshman, and this is why I say I'm concerned about potentially losing people. There's a freshman that's showing out. I want y'all to hop in the comments and guess who y'all think that freshman is that's showing out. Which one do y'all think has made him name for himself like crazy instantly? Now, if you're in the Cord, please shut up. Do not jump in the comments if you're in the Cord because we've already talked about this person. If you ain't in the Discord, feel free. Tell me what freshman wide receiver you think that made a name for himself already. And I'm going to be honest. Some of y'all going to be surprised when I say this. I'm going to give y'all a minute to pick that wide receiver. I'm going to go back to running backs real quick, and I'm going to tell y'all the freshman wide receiver that's showing out. Back to the running backs real quick. Right? I said it in my breakdown of the room. I don't think we get a 1,000-yard rusher this year. I also don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing if we don't get 1,000 yards on the ground. Because I say that because I can see us having 2 to 3 running backs at over 700 this season. Like, you're going to have a running back by committee, and they're all going to be productive. I am definitely sensing that we're going to have two backs over 700. Now, I would love to have two backs over 1,000, but that means that the other backs, we're not going to see any run from like much from Hicks or even Megwa or anything like that. That's what I'm curious about, is how we probably will run two backs. Actually, I think we're going to run at least three backs. I think Franklin's going to get some burn. Honestly, if I was to say who do I think is going to get over 700, I'm thinking it's going to be Salchuk, Barnes, and Franklin are going to be your three backs that get you over 300 yards. I mean, over 700 yards next season, which would be huge, right? So that's my thought. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. I think the running back room is going to be like that. Now, to this wide receiver. And I knew this was going to happen. Everybody's telling the Zion kids. Either Zion Ragin, who's actually not here yet. He's still in high school because he's running track right now. He ran like a 10-2 or 10-3 win aid out in Georgia. So he's blazing on the track right now. He's going to be another fast one. So you're going to add him, Petaway, Brendan Thompson, just blazing up the sideline, right? But no, it ain't Zion Kearney. Close in spelling there, Sooner Cowboy. It's Ivan Carry-On. The giant wide receiver has started making a name for himself already. He's the dude that has been stepping up, and they're just like, hey, man, he's going to be a threat, right? And statistically, in high school, he finished with some pretty darn good numbers. Let me see if I can pull these up real quick. Let me see. Let's see if his huddle had his number in there, what he finished with last season. Because he was putting up some like numbers last season. But Ivan Carry-On isn't. And that's the one you do it. That's the spelling of it. That's it. That's what we call him. He's Mexican. Basically like Megatron, just like Calvin Johnson. Mexitron. He's going to be special. He's going to be special. Right. I don't see Barnes playing in the spring game at all, but he is going through the workouts. I heard that Barnes looked good. But I think Barnes is going to play. It's going to be between Salchuk, Barnes, and Franklin as your three backs. But Carry-On is 6'6", like Raymond put in here, 6'6", wide receiver, and he's putting in work. Now, I don't doubt that Kearney is also cooking, but Carry-On is one that's really sticking out to people, which I love to hear. So when I say I have some slight concerns about potential losing a wideout, makes sense. If the freshmen are really standing out like this, it would make sense. It's not. There's just not going to be enough balls. Now I can see if Jackson Arnold locks in and really looks like the player we expect him to be, man could throw for over 4,500 yards. And there's a chance that that's going to be spread among like 10 or 11 different people catching passes. I'm totally for that. Totally for that. Quarterback room. Steven, thanks for pointing this out. Good stuff. Jackson Arnold was up and down, what I was told, but looked like he was commanding things. Same thing with one that was slinging it, not really doing much, but slinging it. Casey Thompson, our 7th year backup quarterback. He was looking out there slinging it. And Michael Hawkins also, I heard, looked really good throwing the ball. So, freshmen. I'm sorry, this is hilarious. He looks like Undertaker playing football. That is so true. That's what he looks like. That's exactly what Carry-On looks like. That dude, I'm so glad we flipped him from Texas Tech. Thank you, Emmett Jones. Get that man a raise. Y'all have heard me say that numerous times. But Michael Hawkins slinging it, looks good throwing the ball, accurate, putting a nice zip on it. Same thing with Casey, even coming off that knee injury. And Jackson Arnold, was doing Jackson Arnold things. He was up and down, but he was doing his thing. So no concerns at quarterback, which I'm happy to see and hear. From there, though, let's go look on the other side of the ball, defense. Go back defense. Your linebackers in your secondary, competitive depth. And I had to do that slowly because I have to let y'all know. Those are the two most production returning on the team, right? You get most of your snaps at the linebacker and the secondary positions, which is why I did those last in my review. Linebackers with returning Stutzman to be able to help all the young players understand the calls and be able to really take their time in ingraining themselves in the system. Got your boy hyped. Hyped. Linebackers are going to be dumb good. Kip Lewis is doing what he's doing. I just need Kip to put on weight. I mean, he shut me up, but I still need to put on weight, right? Like, I think he came in, Kip Lewis, he's 214 right now. I think by season, they can get him back to 220. Seems like he just gains weight slow, high metabolism. He can hit. Lewis Carter, Crimson Missile, heard he's flying around. And, the weights that he tossed around is now being tossed around on the football field. I expect Lewis Carter to find his way on the field. I do still expect to see a lot of Kanik. Like, I know that he's still working out the quote unquote bugs of himself and understanding the defense and being in the right spots. But I promise you, Kanik's going to look more like Stutzman did after everything in the defense clicked in Stutzman's head. I think with Kanik, you're going to get that now. Same thing with Kip. I don't know about Kobe McKenzie. It doesn't sound like he's been sticking out much, but Omasigo as well as Lewis Carter have. And Omasigo is going to probably see some cheetah out there, in which this is what's crazy to me. Now, I was concerned about potential portaling in that situation because we've got a lot of dudes that's capable of playing cheetah right now. You got Justin Harrington's back, so he got his waiver. He's returning. McCullough is, I think he had like a little small knee procedure or something of that nature. Got some cleaning up, so he probably won't be in there for spring game, but he should be back by summer. I think BB said he expect him back by spring, but I'm not gonna count on that. Pachotti looks good coming back from that knee surgery he had. So you got some Phil Pachotti to add to that list. Like, the linebacker room is really, really, really deep with what? Competitive depth. So for St. Patrick's Day, your boy's gonna be a little bit on that drinking. Woody in the secondary, Woody actually was on I guess, is it Family Ties? Is that what it's called? On Sooner Scoop with Joe Castiglione Jr. and Isaac Stoops or whatnot. But he mentioned that when Woody was on there with them, Woody said that he's expecting to play. He's actually been rotated in at some safety spot. So this assessment here that was pointed out by Byron is that I don't think Woody's changing positions, but Woody will be playing in some packages a safety role, in which Zach Alley's defense, and someone broke this down. I think it was actually my boy, Coach Clinton, Brian Clinton over there from OU Insider. Zach runs a 3 safety set sometimes, especially in definite passing downs. And the beauty of it is we've got so much competitive depth, we can do that, right? So with your safeties, with Bowman, you've got Robert Spears Jennings. You could throw Woody out there if you need to, or with Peyton Bowen. You probably will pull Billy out, put Peyton Bowen in there, put Woody out there with him and Robert Spears Jennings and let them all play. That's your veteran setup at the safety spot. And then you bring in the young guys late in the game. You'll bring in your Reggie Powers. And as you get Michael Boganowski up in size, he'll be able to rotate in at Cheetah. But you probably have McCullough out there with, like, Peyton Bowen, Robert Spears-Jennings, and whoever else you want to throw at safety. Like I said, you can mix in. If you want Woody to play, you can bring Billy back out there. Just depends. But woo! Woody playing multiple positions tells you got a lot of stuff going on. Gentry Williams, he's coming back off that shoulder surgery. I don't expect to see him in the spring. But now that that's cleaned up, hopefully that makes it to where he's good coming the season because, man, he was a threat last season. He's probably the one player that jumped out to me the most of, wow, you really said that you're going to take this position. You're not going to give it up. Because I remember going into camp last year, the conversations was around Josiah Wagner and Gentry Williams. Like, who's going to be able to get the run? And I heard that Josiah was dealing with he was nicked up a little bit, so he didn't get to run as much. But then you got Gentry Williams going out there, and that dude showed out. So the video, of course, I put out today on DBs, I pointed this out. Gentry was the one that everybody was going after initially, right? Because they've seen Woody play for years. They understand what type of player he is. They're like, all right, we're gonna Woody wasn't getting targeted a lot earlier. So they were targeting Gentry. And then Gentry was locking stuff down. And they're like, oh shoot, we're going back to Woody. So that's when you start to see an influx of passes toward Woody because they couldn't go after Gentry when Gentry was in the game. Oh, that is huge. Good job, Valai. Got that kid going, and then the interception against Quinn Ewers in the Red River was just kiss. Everything I needed in my life, right? But then you still got Seatbelt. Now that he's a sophomore, I feel a lot more, well, rest of freshman, I feel a lot more comfortable with him now, learning the sets and understanding where to be. Because he did some really good things for us last year when we needed him to play. He also got caught flat-footed, looking like a freshman, right? And if y'all know me, if y'all been following me for a while, you understand my premise on freshman playing. I have concerns mainly because they're usually the ones easiest to trick, right? A lot of them have this mentality, which was pointed out about our guy, Canick, Sooner in Texas. Worry about Canick between the ears. I worry about Canick between the ears. I'm afraid he's too much of a look, find, kill player. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think you're wrong there. I think that was his mentality because he's just that talented and he's so fast. But you can get caught. That's why the linebacker position in a Brent Venables defense is so important. He puts a lot of pressure on them to do a lot of things. So as long as they're in their right spots that they're supposed to be and they're communicating properly, the defense can flow. But if they're out of position, everybody's out of position. So like if the linebacker is ever out of position, the entire defense is out of position, right? If the linebackers are in position, they can make up. They're built to make up more stuff. That was the thing I saw with like some of the freshmen when they played, like, Seatbelt. So Makari Vickers, when he had a few moments out there, he's looking real good, but then he would get caught kind of like looking in the backfield a little bit more. We saw that Reggie Pearson got caught a couple times and then he adjusted himself and was ready to go. That's the thing, is you can't get yourself caught up. And so Seatbelt is Makari Vickers. So Makari did really good after he figured out, all right, stop getting caught, make sure I know where my guy is, blah, blah, blah. Then, of course, Kendall Dobie comes in, right? You're gonna have him playing a combination of Cheetah and corner, and Kanai Walker is still here. And so you still got a veteran with him. And Kanai wasn't bad last year. He wasn't perfect, but he wasn't bad. Like, he did really good in a lot of spots. He had moments where he would get caught. But the good thing is because of the experience in the secondary with the DBs as well as the safeties, that's going to change for us. That's where you're going to see that competitive depth be able to rotate, and the concerns ain't going to be there like we used to. We can throw those dudes out there because they've had enough snaps to where they know, hey, you're not going to be able to trick me with this because I know I've seen your game. You can't fool me. I've seen your game. That's what we're going to see there, right? Oh yeah, and Kanai's huge, 6'2". I'm hoping our boy Jaden Rowe can get healthy, man. I think he's had like 2 shoulder deals, and he didn't get to play. But Jaden Rowe's also 6'2", and he's a track dude, so he's fast. So you got a tall dude who's fast playing corner. I really want to see more Jaden Rowe. I'm hoping that he gets healthy enough to get some burn. I really do, right? I'm hoping for that. And then, of course, bringing in Des Malone, the transfer, right? That was mentioned in here that Parker and Brandon had talked up Des Malone recently and talked about how good he looked in camp. He may be trying to steal some spots. He's a veteran, right? He's a veteran. He's probably a really good possession type corner, a coverage corner. I hear a lot about him, but that excites me. But the good thing is that the biggest note was the defense is really, really scrappy. So you have a reason to be excited. And because that's where all of our production is returning, right? Like we're dead last in the SEC in returning offensive production because we lost our quarterback and most offensive line. Makes sense. We still bring back all your wide receivers and your running backs. And we got a new tight end room, basically. Defense, though, all we lost was some interior dudes, which is big, but at the same time, we replaced him will be just fine. I saw a picture of Andrell. We talk back to this wide receiver real quick before I wrap up. I saw the picture of Andrell. He had no knee brace on. So you didn't see a knee brace from him or Justin Harrington, which to me is promising. So promising to see that neither one of them are wearing knee braces while out there on the field. I'm really hoping that means that they're about ready when it comes to the spring. But I don't care about them being ready for spring. I want them ready for the summer and the fall ball. I need you ready for fall ball, prepping yourself to take over and dominate these first 3 games. And the first 3 games of the season are going to be fun for us, with it being Temple, Houston, and Tulane. You're going to see a lot of our depth play in that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. Do I see Josiah Wagner do I see him seeing some play? I do. Healthy, he's one of the better backup corners. Like, to the point of everybody, all the reports and stuff that I've heard is that he could have been fighting for the starting spot last year. Just wasn't healthy. But then Gentry showed up and he was like, oh, okay, never mind. But at the same time, he's just that, like Josiah has been showing it. He may be a smaller corner, but he's scrappy, right? And you want a scrappy corner that can fight with big dudes and take the ball out their hands. That's what's most important. And I think he's going to give us that, right? Don't sleep on short corners. Don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them, because the scrappy ones are the ones that be taking out. I mean, Bob Sanders, he's safety, but you see some small corners out there, man. They as long as they scrappy, we good. And Josiah's one of those scrappy ones. He likes to hit. And that was what Reggie Pearson said when he came on last year. He pointed out that Josiah is probably one of his favorites, young players. He likes to hit, and he's pretty cold, and he's pretty fast. We've got size at corner. We've also got dudes that's just overly scrappy. That's what's most important. I just want Jaden Rowe to get bigger and get stronger and not be hurt. I really do. Look, Eli Bowen, don't be surprised if you start hearing his name coming up soon. Right? He's not here. He's here. He's on the roster. I expect to see something out of him. I mean, he's 5'9", but he plays a lot bigger. And watching his high school tape, he's like their best dude in the secondary, even with Peyton on the field. Just saying. That's how good it is. There you go. If OU ain't top 20, 25 defense this year, that it's a disappointment. It is. I agree. Because we're returning all the production, we're in the arc of the Brent Venables reshaping of defenses, right? So when he was at Clemson, they started in the 50s, 60s, and 70s in like efficiency, right? And the efficiency piece that people have to understand, advanced metrics have value because it kind of breaks down the entire game and not just key moments, breaks down everything. And then those efficiency pieces can help tell you if a team's defense is really good or not. Granted, like, for example, Georgia's they were high in all of the defensive efficiency metrics while also being high in the raw stats. Tells you everything. Sometimes garbage time happens or whatnot. But Venable starts 50, 60, 70s. Did that here, first year. Last season, we were in the 10s, 20s, and 30s in metrics. That's how it looked like at Clemson his second year. Third year, he was top 5 in just about everything, right? No, top 10. I say top 10. He had some 9s and stuff right there. We're on that trajectory. And because we're returning the most production in the SEC on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the two most critical positions to be able to be successful in the SEC, linebacker and secondary, I think defensive line is third when it comes to the SEC, because even if you have dominant defensive line, at the position a top 20 with work. So that's really it on the notes that I received, and I want to share with y'all and kind of talk through. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. How you feel? What y'all think? Do y'all feel like we can do this? Y'all think that we can we're gonna show out on the defensive time? Yeah, I know. Freeze frame. Everything just froze up on me, man. You know, beautiful part of having my network on Cox Communications. It's awful. Make sure y'all hit the like button. I'm gonna wrap up, get on up out of here, let y'all enjoy the rest of St. Patrick's Day, get y'all some beverages in your system. I gotta go pack. Won't be having a show this Wednesday. Maybe on Sunday. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to Vegas for March Madness, so I'll be gone most of the week. Gonna go watch the games and enjoy a break, much needed. If you're in the Vegas area, find me. I'll be floating around. Just hit me up on social media. Hit me up on the Bird app. Hit me up at Unfair Sports and let me know where you're at. I'll be floating around, enjoying basketball and just chilling. Maybe we grab a drink, talk a little ball, and all of that. So make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and share. Why? Because sharing is caring. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, y'all enjoy y'all's evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. We'll still have the content flying. I'll probably throw out some. There's going to be somebody going to put out a ridiculous list that I'm going to have to comment on. So we'll put some stuff out there and we'll talk some of the recruiting visits because the June visit date is stupid. Oh, yeah. Let me wrap this up with one last thing. We got a Yamaha from our boy, DeMarco Murray. Coach Murray put out a Yamaha, which tells you one thing. A running back done committed. And I think I know who it is. I'm going to tell y'all my guess. Because him and his dad was pretty excited about being here. We may have locked up Blaylock. But I'm going to do some digging and find out if it is for real. But guess what? We got ourselves what? A Yamaha. We'll talk soon. Y'all enjoy the evening. Peace.